Focus on yourself. Change your behavior until discipline ceases to be a burden and becomes part of who you are. Within you resides a force that wants to grow, a silent desire to become better, to live with more meaning, to go beyond what you've already achieved. But every time you feel you can do more, something invisible seems to pull you back. Between what you desire and what you actually do, there is a space called resistance. Some call it laziness, others procrastination, but the name doesn't matter. What matters is knowing that this resistance isn't in the body, but in the mind. It's that state where you know what you need to do, but you get lost in excuses, distractions, and promises you never keep. Discipline doesn't appear by luck. It's born from firm decision, from dissatisfaction, from the choice to act even without the will. You have this power, the power to act consciously instead of impulsively, the power to transform effort into part of your identity. When you practice this every day, something changes. Your mind stops sabotaging you and starts working alongside you. This video is about that, about forcing yourself to evolve even when your body wants rest, even when your mind doubts and fear tries to stop you. Write in the comments, "Today, I decided to be disciplined. I am a Stoic." This is your first victory, learning to command yourself, because life only begins to respect you when you learn to respect yourself first. I only ask two things: like the video and subscribe to the channel so this message can reach more people who are also ready to change. Now let's go together to the first lesson. Number 1. Discipline creates performance. High performance means giving your best to achieve a very high level in what you want to accomplish. It's about using your skills to the fullest, with direction and purpose. Imagine a super powerful car trying to move with the handbrake on. It makes noise, wastes energy, but doesn't go anywhere. That's what happens when you have talent and goals, but let your energy escape through distractions, worries, and doubts. The problem isn't a lack of talent, it's aimless energy. Abraham Maslow summed it up well. What a man can be, he must be. When you don't strive for your best, a void is created that rest cannot fill. Because it's not tiredness from doing, it's tiredness from not trying. The Stoics called this living according to your ideal self. And this doesn't happen overnight, but with firm and continuous steps. High performance isn't about intensity that comes and goes, it's about consistency in what truly matters. Want to know how to really apply this? Use the 2-minute rule. Start small, just 2 minutes. If you need to study, open your book and read 2 pages. If you want to exercise, get up and move around for 2 minutes. If you want to lead better, think for 2 minutes about a practical action for your team. Then, add 10 minutes of total focus on the same goal. Next, take another 2 minutes to write down what you did and what you plan to do next. This simple cycle reduces resistance, creates movement, and keeps you on track. If you want to stop later, you can, but you almost always continue because the brain doesn't act on motivation. It creates motivation from action. Every time you perform a small act of discipline, it's not just the habit that changes, it's the way you exist in the world. You begin to live with more presence, more meaning, and more truth. What transforms you isn't doing a lot at once, it's doing it consistently, a little at a time. At that moment, your potential ceases to be just an idea and becomes real action. High performance isn't about competing with others. It's about your soul and your actions moving together in the same direction. It's not about running faster, but about running the right path. It's about doing what truly matters every day until it becomes a natural part of who you are. You don't need to change the world today. You just need to take a step towards your best self. And to show that commitment, turn intention into action. Write in the comments 2 minutes, so do your best. That's the simple, direct, and powerful beginning. Not of a promise, but of a new phase of your life. Number 2, change your routine. Nothing grows within comfort. Every advance begins with some kind of imbalance. Think of a seed. Before it blossoms, it needs to break. On the outside, it looks like destruction, but on the inside, it's change. What was husk breaks. What was darkness becomes space, and what was trapped finds freedom. In the same way, you only become strong when you accept being shaken. Many people confuse stability with security, but too much stability leads to stagnation. It's like stagnant water. It seems calm, but over time it rots. You want to evolve, but you remain stuck in the same routine, with the same habits and thoughts. But nothing new is born from what never changes. Want a simple example? You don't build resistance without tiring your body. You don't develop courage without facing fear. And you don't achieve clarity without going through chaos. You can't be a good leader without first enduring the discomfort of learning how to deal with people. And no one becomes a true communicator without overcoming shyness, making mistakes, stuttering, and meeting the gaze of others. Seneca wrote, "Difficulty reveals who a man truly is." He didn't talk about pain as punishment, but as a tool, because every time life takes you out of your comfort zone, it shows you where there's still room to grow. It is precisely at this point that many people give up. When the pain of change appears, they prefer to return to what they already know, even if it is small. It's like what happens with many lottery winners. Overnight, they win an amount that changes everything: house, routine, friendships, even the way they see themselves. But they soon return to the same old pattern. The change happened on the outside, but inside nothing changed. Quick wealth demands new habits, new choices, and more responsibility. And without emotional preparation, the mind does what it knows best. It reverts to its old point of security. It's like trying to fit an ocean into a glass. Without internal structure, the excess overflows. Research shows that most successful people lose everything because they can't sustain the new reality emotionally. They return to the level that the unconscious considers safe. Maintaining change doesn't just depend on wanting it, but on how much you can handle emotionally and mentally. That's why so many people regress. When the external changes faster than the internal, the mind pulls everything back. Without internal structure, even great achievements become fleeting. What you call comfort may just be accommodation disguised as peace, a safe haven that requires no effort, but also doesn't generate growth. Avoiding discomfort is avoiding maturity. Everything you avoid facing comes back later, demanding to be resolved. What doesn't challenge you weakens you. This habit of running away and hiding is a slow death for your progress. Want to truly improve? Then break the false equilibrium that keeps you standing still. Challenge yourself a little more. Train until your body is tired. Study until your mind complains. Speak even when afraid, because that's how transformation happens. Every time something inside you breaks, a new, stronger piece is built. The Stoic practice of this lesson is simple. Every day, choose a small situation that takes you out of your comfort zone. Wake up earlier. Do what you've been avoiding. Say what needs to be said. Start what you've been putting off for so long. These small jolts create a firm foundation, a strength that doesn't depend on what happens outside, but on what exists within. True stability doesn't come at the beginning. It's born from facing imbalance and standing tall. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, something within you rearranges itself, becoming firmer, more aware, and more awake. Keep this phrase as a commitment to yourself. Today, I'm changing my routine. Because it is precisely when you act, even when afraid, that you amplify your emotional strength and prepare your mind to live at higher levels. Number 3. The future is born first in the mind, then in the real world. When you feel stuck, it's almost never due to a lack of ability, but rather a lack of direction. There's no energy in the present when tomorrow doesn't inspire you. The mind needs an image to pull it forward, something to give meaning to today's effort. Without that, even the smallest challenges seem like mountains, and daily life becomes an invisible prison. Think of it this way. Motivation is like a rope stretched between the present and the future. When you lose sight of what you want, that rope breaks and you fall into boredom, procrastination. That tiredness that doesn't come from the body, but from a lack of purpose. That's why so many people start full of energy and give up halfway through. They want to change, but they don't even know the real reason. They say, I want to be disciplined, I want to be productive, but they can't answer why. Without a clear goal, the effort becomes burdensome. It's like trying to climb a mountain without knowing what's at the top. At first there's excitement, but soon discouragement sets in because the body tires and the mind doesn't understand why to continue. This happens to those who study without a goal, work without a greater purpose, or train without knowing what they want to achieve. Without a true reason, discipline fades. Science shows that when you link an action to a real purpose, the brain releases dopamine, the motivation hormone. But if you act without purpose, the brain interprets the effort as pain, not progress. The problem isn't a lack of strength, it's a lack of direction. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." That's what defines growth, not haste but clarity. Having a vision for the future is like lighting a torch in the fog. The road remains the same, but now you can see where you're stepping. Effort gains meaning and movement takes on a soul. So build your future concretely. Take a piece of paper and describe what your perfect day would be like 2 years from now. Where you wake up, what you do, who you're with, who you've become. Next, transform that vision into a practical plan. Choose a goal that challenges you and fills you with pride for the progress you're making. Size doesn't matter. What matters is having direction. Because the future isn't a predetermined destination, it's something you build step by step. And every time you act towards what you envision, tiredness gives way to energy, fear transforms into clarity, and laziness becomes discipline. Remember, without vision, even the greatest effort is lost. With vision, even obstacles become stepping stones. Write in the comments, "I'm starting to create my future," because when you know the why, the how always appears. Number 4, nothing is a sacrifice when there is meaning. Imagine an athlete waking up at 5 in the morning to train while the rest of the world is still asleep. To an outsider, it looks like suffering, but for him, it's direction. The problem is that many people confuse discipline with pain, as if improving were a punishment. But effort is not suffering. The difference between effort and sacrifice lies in purpose. Sacrifice appears when you fight for something that no longer makes sense, a job that makes you sick, a routine that doesn't represent you, a goal that is no longer yours. Effort, unlike sacrifice, happens when you walk towards what you believe in, even when tired, even when afraid. Seneca said that no one is unhappy for doing what they want, but rather for doing what they don't want. And that's precisely where the difference lies. Effort has purpose, sacrifice does not. A pianist who practices 8 hours a day is not punishing themselves, they are preparing for something greater. An entrepreneur who spends nights working on their dream is not sacrificing themselves, they are creating freedom. These people are not running away from tiredness, they are choosing the kind of tiredness that makes sense. And this is a decision that few have the courage to make, because it is easier to complain about the weight of effort than to assume the weight of choice. But the truth is that all growth requires energy, and you only gain control over your life when you decide where to invest it. You can spend your energy complaining or building, resisting or learning, avoiding effort or using effort as a tool. The difference between those who evolve and those who stagnate isn't talent, it's the way you see things. Those who call everything a sacrifice freeze. Those who understand that effort is an investment move forward, because when you understand the reason, the path becomes lighter. Discipline ceases to be punishment and becomes a natural part of those who know what they want. There comes a point when consistency stops being painful and becomes part of who you are. You don't do it because you have to. You do it because it's now you. At this point, the effort no longer hurts because it's aligned with what's true within you. So before calling something a sacrifice, ask yourself, does this bring me closer to or further away from my purpose? If it brings you closer, it's growth. If it further away, it's imprisonment. The Stoics called this living in harmony with nature, acting according to your own reason, not what others impose. When purpose guides you, the weight becomes strength. What once hurt ceases to be a sacrifice when it makes sense. The Stoic practice of this lesson is clear. Replace "I have to do it" with "I choose to do it." Choice changes the weight, and awareness changes your energy. Stopping the use of the word sacrifice isn't about denying effort, it's about freeing effort from suffering. True growth comes not from what you endure, but from what you transform. Number 5, how to make your habits work in your favor. Imagine someone trying to force their life to change. You make promises, set goals, start with enthusiasm, but within a few days, you're already tired, unmotivated, and feeling like you've failed. The truth is, the problem isn't a lack of willpower, but trying to rely on it all the time, as if it was something that never ends. Discipline isn't built with bursts of energy, but with systems that make action easier to achieve. The secret isn't fighting laziness, it's creating pathways that make acting natural. Neuroscience shows that every time you repeat an action, the brain creates an energy trail, like a small path. Over time, this trail becomes a road, and what was once difficult becomes automatic. But the brain doesn't repeat what causes pain, it repeats what brings reward. That's why habits created from guilt end in exhaustion, while habits created with pleasure, purpose, and consistency grow easily. There are 5 forces that transform effort into consistency: pleasure, identity, purpose, progress, and consistency. Pleasure. When you associate a habit with something enjoyable, the brain understands that it's worth continuing. Put on some music while cleaning the house, exercise in a place that inspires you, write with a pen you like, read with a hot drink by your side. Pleasure doesn't have to be the main motivation, but it should exist along the way. The brain doesn't look for what's right, it looks for what feels good. So make what's right enjoyable. Identity. You don't need to act like someone who is trying, but rather like someone who already is. Don't say, "I'm trying to be disciplined." Say, "I am a disciplined person who does what I promise." The mind believes what you repeat, and the body follows what the mind accepts as truth. Real change begins when repetition creates a sense of belonging, when the new behavior stops feeling forced and starts to show who you are. Purpose. When what you do has meaning, your effort gains direction. You don't read a book just to finish it. You read to become a clearer and more conscious person. You don't train to have the perfect body, but to have a firm mind, emotional patience, and self-control. Purpose is what unites habit with identity. When the reason is strong, the path becomes lighter. Progress. Celebrate every small victory. The brain learns best when it perceives progress. Every day you accomplish the basics, you are training your mind to trust you. Don't wait for the final result to feel good. Be proud of the process. True consistency is born not from motivation, but from the joy of seeing that yesterday's effort has become today's structure. Coherence. Align what you think, feel, and do. Nothing is more tiring than living in contradiction. When a habit reflects your values, consistency ceases to be a burden and becomes tranquility. You don't need to force yourself when what you do is in harmony with who you want to be. Coherence gives meaning to routine, and a meaningful routine is a silent form of freedom. Epictetus said that nothing great is created suddenly, and this phrase shows the power of habits. They transform effort into something natural, movement into part of who you are. When discipline matures, it ceases to be a struggle against yourself and becomes a natural state of inner balance. The Stoic practice of this lesson is simple. Reduce the size of the task, but increase the frequency. Small acts done consciously create firm and lasting results. It's not about waiting for the will to act, but about becoming the kind of person who acts even without the will to act. When this happens, you understand that discipline is not prison. It is freedom in its purest form. Write in the comments, "Today I choose to be consistent," and remember, consistency is the silent secret to great victories. It transforms what seemed impossible into something inevitable. But there's something important to understand. If you've been trying for a long time to step out of your comfort zone and learn more, but haven't been able to, there might be something you're not aware of. I know what it might be. Anxiety. Anxiety is like a snake that creeps up silently and affects you without you even realizing it. It leaves you feeling unwell for days, months, and even years. Living like this is like being sick all the time. But I know a solution. Stoic philosophers, along with modern psychology, have a way to help you get rid of it. I managed to cure myself of this anxiety. I made a video explaining how you can get rid of this problem, and it's in the first comment. Click the link in the first comment and start healing yourself from this feeling of anxiety. Number 6, life only gives you what you're ready to experience. Every desire has a price, and almost no one is willing to pay it. The price of preparation. Many people want success, but few are prepared to sustain it. Think of someone who wants to prosper with money, but still thinks like someone afraid to take risks. Or someone who desires mature love, but hasn't yet learned to converse calmly or control their own impatience. This person wants the fruit, but hasn't yet prepared the soil. The universe doesn't deny what you desire. Life only withholds what you don't yet have the strength to hold on to. Epictetus said, "Don't wish for things to happen your way, wish for them to happen as they need to happen, and that way you will be happy." This isn't giving up, it's maturing. Before asking for more, become someone greater. Before wanting results, build a foundation. Want a simple example? Many people dream of being leaders, but can't accept being contradicted. They want to start their own business, but still need the approval of others before acting. They want freedom, but are trapped in habits that keep them stagnant. You don't attract what you want, but what you're ready to handle. Want recognition? Then learn to endure criticism. Want freedom? Be willing to deal with the consequences of your decisions. Want emotional balance? Train your mind not to be shaken by any problem. That's why so many people achieve something and then lose it. It's not bad luck, it's a lack of structure. Victory arrives, but the mind remains weak, stuck in the past. It's like moving house and continuing to sleep on the floor. The place is new, but the pattern remains the same. Preparation is what transforms desire into ability. And this preparation isn't theoretical. It's practical, daily, and mental. It's the training of staying calm even when things get tough, of sticking to difficult decisions and continuing to do what needs to be done without guarantees. Marcus Aurelius said that action should be guided by reason, not emotion. And that's the essential point. Life will test everything you say you want. It will send you small tests, and in each one the question will be the same. Do you really want this, or do you just like the idea of it? The Stoic practice is simple. Live today as someone who is already prepared for what they desire. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Act as someone who already belongs to what they seek. Preparation comes before the miracle. Say to yourself, "Today I become worthy of receiving," because nothing is stronger than someone who understands that the future they desire is being built now with the attitudes they choose to have. Number 7. Turn your environment into an ally, not an enemy. You may have willpower, discipline, and clarity, but if your environment works against you, it will defeat you, not because you are weak, but because the environment acts silently, constantly, and automatically. The human brain was shaped to expend as little energy as possible, and when the environment facilitates distraction, comfort, and escape, that is what the body and mind will choose, even when he knows which shouldn't be the case. The environment is the soil where your habits grow. Put good seeds in bad soil, and they die. But put average seeds in fertile soil, and they flourish. Similarly, you can have the best intentions in the world. If what surrounds you doesn't support those intentions, they won't survive. The mistake many people make is thinking that discipline is about conquering yourself all the time. It's not. Discipline is about reduce friction, don't confront it directly. When the environment makes it difficult to overcome what hinders you and easier to build what you want, discipline ceases to be a burdensome effort and becomes a natural flow. Notice, most of your automatic behaviors are influenced by what is happening, visible, close, and easy. A cell phone beside you while you study. Ultra-processed food within easy reach when anxiety strikes. Notifications flashing like tiny dopamine triggers, constantly grabbing your attention. None of this is a coincidence. Every detail shapes what you do without you even realizing it. The Stoics already understood this. They didn't seek strength solely within the mind. They shaped the surrounding context so that the body and senses would help sustain the purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul takes the form of what it constantly contemplates. You become what you see every day. See how to transform your environment in practice. Keep everything out of your sight that's dragging you down. What you don't see, you don't miss. What you can't reach, you don't use. What you don't keep close doesn't capture your attention. Make visible what supports who you want to be, an open book on the table, workout clothes already laid out, a study notebook ready. An organized environment lessens the pressure of the task. Create rituals. Places hold memories. If your bed is where you watch videos for hours, your mind will associate sleep with stimulation, not rest. If you use your desk to study, eat, and relax, it loses its focus. Every place should have a purpose. make it difficult for what destroys you. Long passwords for social media, apps that block notifications, physical distance from addictions. It's not about strength. It's about mental architecture. Make what builds you easier. Water nearby, open schedule, goals in sight. Simplicity always triumphs over stubbornness. Understand something important. When the environment changes, identity changes along with it. You begin to feel more capable, more organized, more decisive, not because something magical happens, but because the environment stops pulling you back. It starts pushing you forward. Many people fail not because of a lack of discipline, but because they live in environments that reinforce who they were, not who they are becoming. If you want to grow, you need to create a world that sustains that growth. If you want clarity, eliminate the excess. If you want focus, eliminate the noise. If you want strength, eliminate friction. Internal change begins with a simple external gesture. Organize your space. Organizing your environment is organizing your mind. Clearing out your distractions is clearing out your energy. Reducing stimuli is about regaining presence. Today, choose a corner of your life to prepare. Your desk, your bedroom, your phone, your closet. Start small, but start. And while you're tidying up, tell yourself, I am creating a world where the best version of myself will live, because that's what you're doing. Number 8. Stop negotiating with your excuses. There are times when you know exactly what you need to do, but something inside you starts building very well-structured arguments to postpone it. It's not a lack of knowledge nor a lack of ability. It's resistance. It appears with the most convincing voice possible. It says you're tired, that you've already done too much, that it makes no difference if you start tomorrow, that the weather wasn't good today, that it will be better when you're more inspired. The excuse doesn't arrive as an enemy. It arrives as comfort. And that's why it wins over so many people. The mind will always try to conserve energy, especially when what lies before you is an act of growth. Growth requires effort. It requires presence. It requires something that isn't always pleasant. Therefore, at the exact moment when the action that can transform you arises, so too does the voice that tries to keep you the same. This voice is the guardian of your comfort zone. It doesn't wish you harm, but it also doesn't want your progress. It keeps you alive but doesn't let you truly live. The excuse is always logical. It seems intelligent, it seems fair. You start explaining yourself as if you were in an internal court trying to prove why you don't deserve to do what you need to do. It's an invisible theater. And almost always you believe it, because negotiating with your own excuses gives a feeling of temporary relief. But this relief comes at a high price. It costs you your self-confidence. It costs you your belief that you keep your word. Every time you negotiate with an excuse, a part of your identity weakens. Seneca said that the greatest power a man has is to govern himself, and governing oneself means not accepting to be commanded by the voice that asks for the easiest path. When you realize that the excuse doesn't come from reason, but from fear, something inside you begins to change. You understand that discipline is not natural. It is built, and building requires choosing the difficult path when the easy one seems comfortable. The first step is to observe. Don't try to fight the excuse, but see it coming. When your mind says just 5 more minutes, don't accept the dialogue. Cut it off. Get up. Act before you think. Willpower comes later. The body is trainable. The mind too. Action first, motivation later. Start small. Do what needs to be done for 2 minutes. Just 2. After that, continue if you want. The secret isn't in grand gestures, but in proving to yourself every day that you're not at the mercy of impulse. When you act without bargaining, you create a new identity. You begin to believe in what you do. The brain learns that you keep your word, and something powerful is born from that: inner respect. Most people try to overcome excuses by arguing with them. That's the mistake. Excuses will always have better arguments. What wins isn't debate, it's action. If you get up before you even think, the excuse loses ground. If you do the bare minimum every day, even when tired, the excuse will weaken. If you stop explaining yourself, the force of habit grows. Life respects you when you respect yourself. The world responds to those who act. Every time you overcome the excuse, you leave a signal for yourself. I am in control of my life, and that signal is irreversible. It spreads. It appears in how you speak, walk, decide, work, love, and build. Stop negotiating with your excuses. They don't need to be defeated. They just need to stop being heard. Take a deep breath, feel the resistance, and act anyway. That's the difference between those who want to change and those who actually change. Number 9. Strengthen the muscle of quick decision-making. Every real change begins the moment you decide. It's not after overthinking, nor after feeling confident, nor when the scenario is perfect. It's the moment you choose to act. Decision-making is like a muscle. When you use it, it grows. When you avoid it, it weakens. The more you think before acting, the more space you give to doubt, to fear, to excuses, and to all those invisible thoughts that try to keep you the same. The mind loves to prolong decisions because indecision seems safe. As long as you don't choose, nothing can go wrong. Except that nothing can go right either. Hesitation is a comfortable place, but it's where dreams die silently. It's where you watch your own life pass by in standby mode. How many opportunities have you already missed because you left it to decide tomorrow? How many times have you known what needed to be done, but postponed it until the moment had passed? Time doesn't wait. Life doesn't repeat the same scenario twice in the same way. The Stoics understood that power lies in immediate action. Marcus Aurelius said that the present moment is all you truly possess. When you hesitate, you surrender control of your life to chance. When you decide, you take back control. Deciding quickly doesn't mean acting impulsively. It means acting with clarity. You already know what needs to be done. The doubt that arises isn't real doubt. It's fear of embracing your own greatness. A quick decision breaks the cycle of self-sabotage. The mind begins to understand that you are someone who acts, not someone who only thinks about acting. And this creates something profound: inner confidence. Not the confidence built on praise or external results, but the silent confidence of someone who knows they fulfill what they promised themselves. To strengthen this muscle, start small. Sit down to work. Decide in 3 seconds. If you need to get out of bed, get up on the first movement before you even think. If you have a pending task, start with the first 2 minutes. No negotiation. This simple practice creates a pattern. Action leads, feeling follows. Until discipline ceases to be a struggle and becomes natural. The will comes later, never before. Another important thing is to eliminate the micro-questions you ask yourself before acting. Those little questions that seem innocent, like, should I do it now? Or, maybe I should wait a little. These micro-questions are the doors through which procrastination enters. Stop asking. Just do it. Action is your answer. At first it may seem difficult. Your mind will ask for time, it will try to negotiate. You will feel resistance. That's where strength is born. Every time you decide quickly, even with discomfort, you send a message to yourself. I am in control. And that message spreads to all areas of your life. At work, in relationships, in your health, in your personal growth. A life with decision is a life with direction. Notice the strong, confident, and respected people. They aren't the ones who speak the most eloquently. They are the ones who make decisions without fear of being wrong. They know that deciding is more important than being right, because those who decide move forward. Those who move forward learn. Those who learn grow, and those who grow achieve. Meanwhile, those who hesitate remain still, thinking, imagining, wishing, accumulating intentions that never become reality. Strengthening the muscle of quick decision-making means choosing to live your life with presence. It means stopping hiding behind endless analysis. It means taking responsibility for who you are becoming. Decision-making is the beginning of everything. Take a deep breath, feel the resistance, and choose. Not tomorrow, now. Number 10. The secret of a mind that never gives up. Imagine someone trying to light a fire on a windy day. They strike a match, and the flame goes out. They try again, and the wind extinguishes it once more. On the third try, they shield the fire with their hands, and only then does the flame catch. It's the same with dreams. Persevering isn't about being stubborn, It's about nurturing. It's about protecting what is still fragile until it becomes strong enough to shine on its own. What makes people give up most often isn't a lack of talent, it's a lack of patience. Many want to see results quickly, and when they take a long time, they think they've failed. But nothing that truly grows flourishes without first putting down deep roots. It's easy to plant a dream, but difficult to keep watering it when it seems like nothing is changing. And it's in those quiet moments when everything seems to have stopped that many give up. But the truth is, while you work, time works with you. And when your effort meets the right timing, what once seemed distant begins to happen. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The obstacle is the way." He wasn't talking about suffering like a martyr, but about transforming each difficulty into training for the soul. Perseverance isn't born from success, it's born from friction. It is friction that shapes the diamond. It is resistance that creates strength. It is time that ripens the fruit. And it's the same inside you. But there's a mistake that destroys persistence, the haste disguised as urgency. You want to plant today and harvest tomorrow. You want to start a project and immediately receive applause. You want to train your mind and soon feel peace. But life doesn't obey haste. It responds to the depth of your preparation. Time is not something that stops you from moving forward. It is the ground where success learns to grow. Staying strong means understanding that the journey isn't meant to punish, but to teach. It's believing that the delay that seems bad is actually the right time your mind and heart need to become strong enough to live your dreams. Those who don't understand this give up not because they are weak, but because they lack patience, trading true growth for a quick rest. Epictetus said that no one is truly free until they learn to control themselves. Perseverance is that freedom. It's moving forward even without enthusiasm, without applause, without needing someone to push you. It's believing practically that sooner or later, effort transforms into achievement. If you want to have that strength, stop counting what's still left and look at how far you've already come. The mind gives up when it focuses on everything that's still far away. The heart keeps going when it remembers why it started. With each step, the brain understands that you are someone who finishes what they start. And something changes inside you. Effort takes on a new meaning. Tiredness ceases to be an enemy and begins to show that you are growing. Brain science explains that every time you face a difficulty and don't give up, your brain adjusts your frustration tolerance. And that's one of the greatest forms of power a human being can have. It's not about removing challenges from your path, but about learning to endure more without breaking. The more you endure, the more space opens up within you to grow. Patience then ceases to be just waiting and becomes wisdom, the strength to continue caring for the seed even without seeing anything sprout yet. This is how perseverance ceases to be a nice idea and becomes a natural way of living with maturity. The practice of Stoic teachings is clear. Choose a goal and stick with it long enough to overcome boredom, because it is in this moment of boredom that many stop, and it is precisely there that real progress begins. To persevere is not to never have doubts, but to keep going even with doubts in your heart. It's choosing to trust a little more than you fear, to act a little more than you complain, to try a little more than you think you can. And in the end, to understand that time has never been the enemy, but always the most patient friend, the one that waits for you to mature. Perseverance is not a force that shouts victory. It is a calm voice that says, "I haven't arrived yet, but I keep going." Patience is the ground where everything of value matures. Friendships, wisdom, results, and even inner peace. Those who learn to wait meaningfully do not waste time. They build a firm foundation for a life that truly lasts.